Are you craving close quarters combat in Quasimorph? Look no further than Eclipse Blades. It's one of the two initial starter classes and is our de facto boss farming class due to its perks. A strong pick for those who like to take matters into their own hands, if you know what I mean. In this video, we're gonna go over its perks in detail and evaluate why Eclipse Blades is a strong choice most of the time. Left to right, top to bottom, the first perk is Knife Fight. A simple and clear bonus to melee accuracy. At maximum level, this is a 20% bonus, which is considerable to make you not miss most of your attacks, even your less accurate heavy hits. The way you level this perk is by attacking with any melee weapon. You can start to see why this class is purely focused on melee, since the bonuses and even the way you level up its perks are naturally concentrated on that. Talking a bit about melee weapons choice, there are a couple of good ones to use, and like any other weapon, the most important thing is their damage type versus the enemy's resistance values. There's never a perfect weapon, since usually you have to be flexible on the type of damage you deal. Cut damage type weapons also have a bonus, which is their natural ability to amputate limbs. This is not only important for an easier time when farming loot, but especially for this class, to get human meat to consume. You'll see why later. Almost any melee weapon is good enough to start. Factions at their initial tech level don't have that much armor. However, if you manage to get this halberd axe from Test Clan, which has very good damage, it can easily get you through the start to mid game. Vibroblade is yet another great alternative for this, but it isn't as easy to get early on. For a better weapon, take on some contracts in Earth's moons and try to farm this lunar blade from Quasimorphs. Personally, despite cutting weapons being great, I do love this lunar club blunt type weapon, and it's the one I've had the best results with for a simple reason. I don't run Eclipse Blades exclusively as melee. I always bring a secondary weapon for those cases where going in close to do damage isn't a choice due to that strategy being dangerous. Shotgun and its default buckshot 12 gauge ammo is always an amazing alternative, even against most Quasimorphs, but because the ammo damage type is cut, I'll use Dagur's Morningstar, the Lunar Club, as a blunt damage type. It gives me a little bit of flexibility in being more effective against different targets. The next perk we're looking at is Reflexes. Like the previous one, another good base bonus, Dodge Chance. At the maximum level, you'll get an additional 40% bonus. As you can imagine, evasion is somewhat important for this class, since a lot of times you're being attacked due to having to be close to enemies to hit them. The way the perk gets experienced is by dodging any enemy attack. So once again, like the previous Knife Fight perk, you don't have to worry about doing something specific here. Just use your melee weapons and you'll level these perks up easily. Next up is Athletics. This perk reads, Sprint affects accuracy. That means that if you're running, using this third movement type to get around, the accuracy penalty you would normally get because you're running has this minus 80% added to it at the max perk level. Once again, extremely simple to get experience to level it up, just use run. If there's one class that takes advantage of running, is Eclipse Blades, for at least 3 important reasons. 1, by doing so, you're actively leaning onto this perk. 2, you get 3 actions per turn when running and not 1 or 2 actions like the other movement types. And finally 3, you're faster when running to get out of tricky situations. When fighting melee, cover is a must, and going around physical obstructions like pillars is a great strategy to shorten the distance between you and the enemy to apply that final blow. There's also another pretty good strategy, which is hiding the enemy in a way that you always get the upper hand when attacking. Usually, doorways are the best example to demonstrate this, but the same concept can also be applied to pillars and other map objects. The way you do this is open a door and get out of line of sight. Then, change into run movement mode so you'll have 3 action points per turn at your disposal. Finally, just move inside, hit an enemy, and come back out to safety. Rinse and repeat, or even wait for all the enemies in that room to follow one another and beat them to death, eventually creating a beautiful pile of bones as a way to show your obvious godlike Carnage potential. Let me remind you that this video is part of a playlist for all the available classes in Quasimorph. Consider subscribing to the channel to not miss those other class videos coming soon. The fourth perk is Taste of Blood. Nothing too fancy or crazy here, but nevertheless, a solid one. It grants you health over time regeneration if you get a bleeding wound. And let's face it, it isn't that hard to get one in Quasimorph. The way you level it up, once again, is by being hit. Not that you should aim to take damage, but if you do, it will do its own thing without having to worry too much about it. Like I said, it's nothing fantastic, but having a bit of life regeneration on the side is always good. Now let's get to the real good stuff, the hardcore crazy part of this class. Carnage is an incredible perk. At the maximum level, it grants you 80% more damage, and all you have to do to trigger this is kill an enemy using a melee weapon. Also, it buffs all damage output from your clone, not just melee damage. That means that if you killed one and this activates, even if you switch to your side weapon, let's say a shotgun, all that damage will also be blessed with this 80% bonus. And finally, the last perk of Eclipse Blades. And the reason why I said in the beginning, this is the de facto Baron farming class. We have Cannibalism. Wild one, right? By eating human meat, you'll get an additional bonus for all melee damage. It doesn't matter if said meat is raw or cooked, both work. It just has to be human meat. And why does it make it good for farming bosses then, you ask? Well, consuming human meat not only triggers this added damage effect for your clone, but also does two other very important things. The first is your calories, right? Every clone has to eat something to replenish the calories so you don't die. Raw human meat provides a good 400 calories, which is the same as consuming mumu we can craft from one plastic in a magnum. When cooked, now fried human meat, it gives you 100% more, so 500 calories instead. Secondly, and more importantly, is the Quasimorph effect. Every time you eat human meat, you raise the Q morphosis level by 100. These two consequences of consuming human meat make it easy after clearing a whole level to just survive and raise on demand the Q morphosis level to the Rapture phase to make a Baron spawn and kill it. It's a great strategy to farm packs if you want to play that way. Basically, a stay-in-place Baron hunter with no negative side effects. And with all this said and done, my take on this class is this. It's good, it's strong, and by far the best if you want melee gameplay. However, it's not an all-rounder class that just functions at any level against any enemy. The huge drawback I see, it's not based on the class, but on the playstyle that is forced by the class itself. You always have to be in close proximity to the enemy, and this is the biggest problem. I can very easily remember a handful of situations where things got out of hand very fast when fighting Quasimorphs and I died, only because I wasn't able to get some distance. Sure, you can and should always have another non-melee weapon equipped for when shit hits the fan. I always do, but at that point, why not just use a different class that shines when using those instead? Distance or range in this game is king. Fleeing or repositioning against quick enemies is hard, even harder when you're injured. And the whole kiting, counting actions and turns, or even the waiting by the door out of line of sight strategy, sometimes necessary to succeed when playing Eclipse Blades, is not for everyone. I really do like Eclipse Blades and I appreciate the existence of it for those times I'm a bit bored of the usual long distance shooting and want to play differently. But make no mistake, for the harder critical contracts I need to run, I'm definitely not using it. What I do use instead is Scout of Hades. It's the other starter class in Quasimorph, which is, in my opinion, is the best one out there. Watch the Scout of Hades class video next to know why you should use it. Consider subscribing to the channel for more Quasimorph content. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!